It wasn't the wind that destroyed Kenneth Johnson's home.
It gives me an opportunity to reflect back to kind of figure out how close things, how disastrous things could have been.
A massive tree came crashing through his roof.
That tree brought this whole house down.
On Tuesday, an EF2 tornado tore through the Beachland Beach neighborhood of Prospect.
I was sitting on that couch.
Alarm sounded on Johnson's phone. He barely made it to his basement steps when everything came crashing down.
And debris from the ceiling began to hit me in the head. I got a little minor scar right there on my darn head, and that's the only injury that I've got.
If Johnson stayed on his couch, he likely wouldn't be here today.
I would have had that tree in my lap. Yep. Yeah, it would have been in my lap.
Johnson was okay, but the fallen tree had him trapped in his basement. It just so happens his neighbor has a backhoe and busted him out.
The door was totally trapped by debris and stuff. They would have never got him out. Plus the tree was sitting on top of it all. This was the only exit for him.
It took 2 days to remove the tree. On the third day, the 79-year-old can finally take stock of what's left. Furniture, jewelry, and this memory, Johnson's freshman yearbook from 1960.
And there is Kenneth Johnson, 16 years old, I believe, and that was my wife.
Johnson's wife passed away 3 years ago, but in the wake of this disaster,
wow,
he's surrounded by kind hearts.
I'm being uplifted so much because of all the extended opportunities people are giving me to survive this tragedy that I had here.
You could say a few feet made a world of difference when a tornado hit Kenneth Johnson's home.
Must have been his hand that guided me down in them steps.
He'll tell you he's here today by the grace of what's above. In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News.
that's pretty.
With so much joy packed into one delivery,
Can't wait to see what God got planned for us.
we've got to dive right in order to show it all.
All right, come here.
Earlier this month, the Chiller family apartment was broken into, and thieves took nearly everything, even food.
You got it?
Okay, Mom, we good.
All while their mother, Jamila Chillers, was recovering in the hospital from a gunshot wound.
It is people out here who will help. It is people who will listen and know that even though bad situations happen, it don't always be for bad people.
We're really touched by your story here. The community tells us that you help out here.
Major Russ Miller and Officer Montrell Crawford of LMPD came to know the family in the week since the shooting and theft and began collecting items to replace those stolen and much more.
We also have a donation from the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods that's donating $643 to pay for your rent for the next month to make sure while you're still healing and recuperating, you and your kids have a place to stay here, then the rent's paid for. So that's for you there.
The family received a host of gift cards, a donation to cover 1 month's rent, a truckload of groceries, and bed and bedding.
We do have a big surprise that I was able to get through the district resource officers here in the 2nd Division.
Bikes for every child.
Yeah, I'm gonna be popping wheelies on this.
On top of this, eldest son, Jaden Chillers, graduated from Breckenridge Metro last weekend.
Major came the day before and took me shopping for a suit, and I went to graduation and showed out.
Major Miller and Officer Crawford not only took Jaden shopping, but cheered him on at graduation the following day.
I was the flyest guy in there.
On Friday, Jamila Chillers was at a loss of words once again, only this time overwhelmed with gratitude.
I would have never thought even this would happen to me, let alone this. Just thankful, just really thankful. It's overwhelming in a good way.
It certainly is. In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News.
In the woods.
If there is such a thing as a favorite part of cancer treatment,
Lose Uncle Walter for good.
for Jillian Hollis, it would be this.
No, I usually bring this one.
Of this life has gone, I'll fly away like a bird from his proudly lonely nest. I'll fly away.
Music therapy comes standard at Norton Cancer Institute, St. Matthews.
For at least I can run. They just died in the sun.
That's what board-certified music therapist Kennedy McCollum provides, orchestrating sessions like this.
We just play music, whatever pops into our heads, and we laugh so much, and then we sing some more, and then we laugh some more.
Powered by acoustic guitars, Hollis sings during her chemo treatments. Earlier this year, she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, a rare cancer that develops in the lymphatic system.
I developed this odd dry cough, and it only happened like on human days, and if I hadn't been singing a lot, it might not have bothered me enough. Closer to Fine, Indigo Girls, Dimming of the Day, Bonnie Raitt's version.
As a patient, Hollis brings a certain vibrato to these jam sessions. She is a professional opera singer.
I was free. I actually love that because I love saying, I'm an opera singer, and everybody goes, what? Wow.
Hollis has graced stages across the country, but her diagnosis put her touring career on hold. While not knowing if she'd ever sing professionally again.
This is an entirely new experience for me, being a patient in the hospital and then coming here for these treatments and stuff. And like, you know, people who've had cancer usually haven't had cancer before. Like, you don't know how it's gonna go, you don't know what it's gonna feel, you don't know what your journey is gonna be.
Hollis began chemotherapy 6 months ago.
Actually, my least favorite thing are the two meds that they just gave me, which are the anti-nausea meds and the one that tastes like expired Flintstones.
I went to the doctor, I went to the mountains.
Music therapy accompanied each infusion. McCollum helped Hollis learn to embrace and practice music in a way she never had.
Getting chemo is like such an uncomfortable experience for your body, but then singing is something that your body enjoys, so it kind of balances it.
As the joy of singing returned, her strength did too.
Patients like Jillian and music therapy visits like we have just remind me why I chose to do this with my life, and it really is what like keeps pushing me and keeps me going on the difficult days. So I'm just really grateful.
And hopefully the most difficult days are behind Hollis as she completes her 12th and final treatment.
With Kennedy here, I got to remember that music wasn't just my job. You know, music's like my life and part of who I am, and also just a fun thing. Like, oh yeah, it's fun.
Sì, sì, ci voglio andare.
Even the saddest of songs can be the most cathartic and performed in the happiest of moments. In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News. Under a setting sky.
There it is. Oh, it went perfect because the camera's here.
Each piece of a war memorial is laid into place. Volunteers, many of them veterans, start with the largest panels in the center and work their way out.
A concerted effort between the folks that have the wall itself and the local community.
They are assembling a traveling replica of the Vietnam War Memorial Wall.
Biker clubs, Jeep clubs, and some of the other people that just live in the area.
It's nearly the same size as its permanent counterpart in the nation's capital.
Oh my gosh, I'm 5'5". I'd say this is probably pushing close to 8 foot, I'd say.
Retired Marine Travis Whitworth was born the same year the U.S. left Vietnam. His connection with the veterans of that time, in part, inspired him to serve then and now.
Even if you don't know a veteran, you can look at this and just really take it all in and respect the sacrifices that our men and women of the service have given.
The wall is 80% the size of the D.C. Memorial and stretches more than 300 feet.
It has all the names on it just like you would have if you went to D.C. to see the wall in person.
The wall travels around the country and finding its way to Shepherdsville for nearly a week.
We do have lots of veterans throughout the country, but right here in our own community, and get to come down here to be able to see this and pay that respect and be able to see what maybe they can't afford to go see or be able to travel because of health issues.
By the time it was set up, the sun had already set. But the wall has a way of drawing you in.
There he is.
At the very bottom.
At the very bottom. Clyde Campbell. My dad was in Vietnam with. They were in the same unit together, and from what my dad told me, the last person that Clyde saw was my dad.
There are more than 58,000 names on the wall, each deserving to be read. In Shepherdsville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News. It's during the coldest months of the year
and that you see them through these trying cold times.
You'll find Bill Level
Wayside, anybody home?
Out in the elements. He's searching for Kentuckians who live on the street.
Would you like some coffee? And okay.
Level volunteers for Wayside Christian Mission, making rounds like this during the winter months. Wayside operates the largest low-barrier shelter in Louisville.
Hang in there, my friend.
Level encourages people to seek shelter whenever possible.
What we would like for more of them to do, if they so choose, would be to go in the low-barrier shelter within Wayside Christian Mission. It's here on Jefferson Street. But, really a very small percentage of people do that.
They go for the coffee.
Hot coffee and sandwiches are handed out regardless.
Is there anything I can pray for you about?
And Level is always willing to pray.
He knows that he'll have everlasting eternal life in heaven.
He's noticed something too. It's been nearly 6 months since the statewide camping ban went into effect, and Level says the city's large encampments are all but gone.
Well, John, we think this is the last camp that was in downtown Louisville. We were here last week and it was here, but you can see they cleared a lot of it out. But
Level doesn't know if that means there are fewer homeless in Louisville, but perhaps more spread out.
You can't pray for me, but everything is going all right.
So you want some coffee and water or something?
I lost my house about 10 years ago.
This man says he stays mostly to himself and avoids overnight shelters.
Oh, you can find shelter space when you want to come in, but it's up to the person to come in. And most people around this time of era, they don't want to come in.
Steve Jackson does stay in shelters at night and sees the same thing Level does. Smaller groups of people in more places across the city.
We're taught where we go to church and everything and read the Bible that we are supposed to be the hands and feet of the Lord here on earth. And so that's what a lot of us do attempt to do. And probably a poor job of it, but...
So at the end of the day,
okay, loading up a second time.
It means Level and his fellow volunteers choose to cover more ground.
Can I give you the keys or leave them in here?
Because there are still people in need.
Anybody there?
Even if they are harder to find. In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News. It is a build day.
You crinkle it up.
At the Louisville Miniature Club's regular meeting.
Please sign up for August 10th.
Every member builds together.
Okay, we're working on a little book. Abby, where's that prototype? Who has a prototype?
It's an exercise.
And then you can add it to a scene you already have or build something around it.
Everyone practices the same skills at once.
But some people like to work in the smaller scales. I used to call it the dark side.
Of course, building happens at all hours when the members are in their own homes.
I lived in a condominium at one time, kind of like what my condo looked like. And there's a cat on the sofa, because I do like cats and dogs. Yeah, it's got some beautiful pieces in there. It's got a painting over the fireplace.
Nancy Claypool is the president of the Louisville Miniature Club, an official chapter of the National Association of Miniature Enthusiasts. The Louisville chapter was formed in 1973.
Honestly, things like this, as you get older, it keeps your mind going.
Little, yes.
I did this one first.
Easy, no.
It's made out of a cigar box, and it's kind of my homage to Kentucky, where we have the horses.
Time consuming.
That started out as a bird cage.
Definitely.
From like a Pier 1.
Judith Riggs has been building dollhouses and miniatures for 10 years and is a blue ribbon winner several times over.
The jewelry is where I recycle some of my grandmother's jewelry. Costume pieces I wouldn't wear myself, but they look great on my pieces.
For many members, it's strictly a hobby.
I finally found that fabric in an antique fabric shop in France.
Then there's the bearded miniaturist, Preston Poling.
I had started off building the apartment from the television show Frasier, and that got so much traction on social media that they were like, "Are you going to build the cafe next?"
Poling does custom restorations, in-home builds, as well as miniatures for commercial and film productions.
Oh yeah, the miniature community is huge. I mean, not just here, but worldwide. It's a huge community, and it's really a diverse community.
Showing us the smaller the build.
And you can't cough, and you can't sneeze, and you can't breathe because things go flying off the table.
The bigger the world you create. In Louisville, Jonathon Gregg, Spectrum News.